Welcome, everybody, to the first episode of the Artificially Smart Marketing Podcast, where we explore the exciting world of artificial intelligence and its impact on marketing. Every week, we're going to feature in-depth conversations with industry leaders, technology experts, and marketing professionals. Our guests are going to share their insights and experiences on how AI is transforming marketing and providing businesses with a competitive edge, keeping you up to date on the latest trends and best practices in AI-powered marketing. Now, whether you're new to the world of AI or an experienced professional, the Artificially Smart Marketing Podcast is the perfect place to learn about the latest advancements and how they can be applied to your business. Join us each week and let's explore the intersection of AI and marketing together. All right, everybody, welcome to, again, the first episode. We are here with our host, Tony Aponte. How's it going, Tony?
Doing good, Matthew. Excited to be here.
Awesome. Now, my name is Matthew Maniak. I'm the co-host here with Tony. And again, every week we're going to be bringing you the latest and greatest in AI and marketing. So kind of to give ourselves a little bit of background on you, Tony, tell me a little bit about your personal background and how you kind of fell into the manufacturing world where you kind of got your start.
Cool. Yeah. After I graduated high school, that's basically what I was available where we're at. I grew up in Live Oak, and so a lot of the work opportunities outside of restaurants was right there. So, I went from building mobile homes all the way to uh, Sea Ray boats, building sport yachts, and I did that all the way up till about 2000. And it just kind of from that point forward, it just I went from there to becoming an entrepreneur, starting my own painting company, which was really the start of this whole journey, really, right? Whenever as an entrepreneur you're starting to look for different ways on setting yourself apart, building your business, generating leads, dealing with customers, learning customer service, all the fun stuff that comes with being an entrepreneur.
Awesome. Now, kind of taking it from there, tell me a little bit about, I mean, in some of our previous conversations, you had mentioned a little bit about your work with Sherrod Vans and eventually moving into starting your own painting company. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so it went, so like I said, it went from manufacturing, came, whenever 9/11 hit, that's when I actually ended up moving to Jacksonville, and decided to look for another job, obviously. And that's how I came across Sherrod Vans, which is another production company where they, dealt with customizing vans and trucks for the dealerships for Ford, Dodge, and Chevy. But then in 2003 is whenever my brother started his own painting company, and I decided to go work with him just because the opportunity in manufacturing at that time just wasn't all that great. And so got into construction, which is something that we did all, since we were kids anyway. So it wasn't something that was new to us. But shortly after I joined him with his painting company is whenever I decided to start my own business. I felt like, oh, I can do this. I can do this on my own. And so I started my own business doing painting. 2008 hit, and we all know what that was like. The housing industry kind of took a dump. And at that time, all I did was painting. I didn't need to look for work at that time. It was I had contracts with several builders to do all the new construction painting, so I was doing okay. But whenever the economy took a dump in 2008, everyone stopped buying new houses, and so I had to start looking into how can I get more work coming in, and that's when I kind of shifted into remodeling and also doing other home improvement jobs.
Awesome. Now, I mean, obviously, the 2008 recession affected a lot of people and a lot of different industries and markets and all that. I mean, how did that help you or guide you or incentivize you to transition into like learning the internet marketing side of things? Because obviously, going from painting to a lot of with what you do now in the marketing space, that's quite the jump. So
Yeah.
tell me a little bit about the journey and that process to get there.
Yeah, it's funny because if you would have told me, that, whenever back in, the early 2000s, if you had ever told me that I was going to be into marketing and learning all this tech stuff, I would have laughed at you because when I first started, all I knew was Gmail. Gmail and Yahoo. Those are the only two emails that I knew about, and I didn't know anything about the internet. But because of the fact that work literally just basically came to a stop, I had to figure out how to bring in some business. And so I started doing some research. I kind of like reached out to different companies for marketing. I started kind of reading about internet marketing. And that's when I decided to hire a company to start, doing internet marketing for me, built a website, and they did some pay-per-click campaigns for me, which, to short story, was a waste of my time. But the results were so crappy that I was like, I can do better than this, and I can learn this myself. And then that's exactly what I did. I just jumped in, learned how to build a website on WordPress, learned how to make it to where I needed, for it to convert. Started learning SEO, and that's really what really launched me into that rabbit hole of internet marketing, specifically SEO. It just I got to a point where, at that time, Google SEO was a lot easier. I mean, it was easier then. You could buy a keyword rich domain, put some content, and you would rank, on Google like in the first page within a couple weeks. It's not as easy as that anymore. However, that's what it was then. And so I started getting a lot of success with it. And I had a lot of friends that were entrepreneurs as well. And when I started talking some of the stuff that I was doing, they were like, "Oh, can you help me out?" So I'm like, "Sure, I can help you out." So I built a couple of websites for some of my friends, and I started doing their SEO. They started getting leads and stuff, and I was like, "Hey, I can do this," And that's whenever I decided to launch my SEO company at that time, to start offering SEO services to other business owners.
Awesome. Now, obviously, we're not new to the game of marketing, but new to the game of podcasting, quote unquote. So for those who of our many viewers as of right now that are out there, that don't know, what is the name of your SEO company?
Well, at that time it was First Coast Media Pros, but now it's Next Advantage Coaching, and that basically encapsulates actually not only SEO, but as overall marketing strategies, helping home services with their marketing and helping them create a marketing strategy that's going to attract quality leads.
Awesome. Now, I mean, obviously the journey of entrepreneurship is not easy, and in that world we can there can be a lot of health problems that can come up, and I know from our conversations and some of your background, for the viewers, tell me a little bit about how your near death experience in 2018 affected you and your business approach.
Yeah. So, I was still running, my remodeling company all the way through. I actually just recently closed it down last year, 2020, or 21, I'm sorry. And I was in South Carolina in 2018. I took over a new construction project for an apartment complex up there. And that was about a year, just a little about over a year and a half project. And in July, we were still in South Carolina, and late July is whenever I actually ended up having to go into the hospital for an emergency open heart surgery because I had an aortic dissection. Now, if you don't know what that is, I didn't, after my surgery, I didn't know what it was until I started, obviously the doctor kind of explained to me what happened and did a little bit of research. At the end of the day, basically what it boils down to, it's actually one of the worst heart surgeries that you can have. And this, the success rate, the survival rate on those surgeries is very low. So, needless to say, I'm happy to be still around. And so, yeah, that really put things on hold for over a year. And I ended up having to, because I couldn't work. And my wife, she's a licensed lawyer in Montana. And that is what we ended up moving to Montana. Now, mind you, being a Florida boy, I lived in Florida all my life, and moving to Montana, which is on the other side of the spectrum when it comes to winters, was an experience that is a whole nother story.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, we love to hear that story. Like, tell me why you decided to move all the way out there. Because I mean, obviously, Florida and Montana, that's not a small move. You're going
No, no.
from Christmas and flip flops and sandals
Yeah.
to having to shovel snow in
uh,
actual snow, not the soap and bubbles kind that they send off from the rooftops.
Yep. And that's literally how it was. Cause living in Florida, I was always in flip flops. Uh, Not the case up in Montana. Like I said, because of the surgery, I couldn't work. My wife had an opportunity up there, because she is licensed in Montana. So we ended up moving over there so she could, practice law. And we were there for about a year. And when we moved up there, it was in March of 2019, and which by the time that we got there, we cut all the winters all the way through South Dakota. It was horrible. And we got to Montana, and we get there and they're like, "Oh yeah, you decided to move up here at the worst one of our worst winter seasons." I'm like, "Great." So but needless to say, it was an experience. And it was an experience that we enjoyed on some part, but it was time to come back to Florida, back to the warm weather, and we ended up moving back that following September.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, no, I was gonna say, I mean, from my side, I used to live a little bit outside of Boston, when I was younger, so I know exactly what you mean with those crazy winters. I mean, I remember my dad having to shovel the roof, like
Ugh.
shovel the snow off the roof. It was crazy, and I mean, obviously the we can say that I got out before the accent kicked in. Because I mean, if people when I say that I'm from the Boston area, people are like, no, you're not. It's like, yeah, I am, but I just moved out before the accent kicked in.
Yeah.
Um, now,
That's
I mean, well, when it comes to like moving back to Florida in that process, I mean, did obviously there's the changes and everything that go in with that, and that's a whole process in and of itself. But as you moved back to Florida, did you find that it made sense to kind of continue that journey into the marketing space, or like tell
oh
me a little
yeah.
bit in that regard?
Oh yeah, for sure. That was always something that I've always, felt that was my calling. I've kept it going. I've done work for, I did freelance work for a long time for everybody, and just kind of really hit that. Um, Moved back to Jacksonville, and to be honest with you, construction, that was really my passion. And so I still focused a lot on I ended up relaunching my company here in Jacksonville, a remodeling company. And, you know, I but I came in with a different mindset, just because, as an entrepreneur, you kind of, as you start going through that evolution as a business owner, there were certain things that I did in South Carolina that was really working. And so I took that and I applied it to the relaunch of the company here in Jacksonville. And because I felt that it would work. Um, and so I basically, even though I was doing marketing on the side, I focused mostly on my remodeling company. And, generating leads, being able to attract high quality leads was just never really an issue that I always had. But if you talk to any contractor out there, the biggest issue is finding people that actually want to work. And so that is basically one of the biggest reasons that I decided to just close the company just recently and start focusing on the marketing side and helping other home service providers with their marketing. And so the lot of things, one of the biggest things that, as a business owner, it doesn't matter what industry you're in, there's a lot of things that come with that, with marketing, and not only and just running a business. And a lot of times we spend more time as business owners on trying to provide services, and then we don't have enough time to market our products and services properly. And so that is basically kind of the motivation really behind this podcast, especially now. Matthew, you and I have talked, we're kind of in a time where it's really exciting. And if you're open-minded as a business owner on looking for ways to really grow your business, where we're at right now is the best time to really jump on that journey.
Now I feel like there should be a drum roll here because it's like, you know, we're building up to it. We're building up to it. We all know why we're here. We all know the name of this podcast. Let's say it. One, two, three. AI.
AI.
So I'm, I mean, it truly is a exciting time. Just I mean, in general, with the way that the technology is advancing and the new capabilities that it's unlocking for us. I mean, obviously, yes, there's both sides. You've got the the excitement, the technological capabilities that are being pioneered where we are now, and obviously there's the dangers and the hesitancies that need to be observed and caution that needs to be observed in other areas. And I mean, obviously, with what we want to do on this podcast, talking about AI and its coordination and integration within the marketing field, we're going to be covering both sides, right? And
Yep.
talking about the tools that are out there that business owners can use. We're going to be talking about the the good, the bad, and the ugly, and it's like what do we need to be aware of? And because we're entering an unprecedented time in technological development where um I mean we're seeing again like through chat gpt, which kind of was the first one that really started the whole craze. I mean, obviously there was others that existed beforehand, like Jasper's been around a little bit longer but wasn't quite as famous or prominent as chat gpt. We have things like Siri that technically in some ways could be considered artificial intelligence, but this whole revolution, if you will, didn't really start until ChatGPT came out and just took the world by storm. Um, but kind of in that regard, like what was your first introduction to, say, ChatGPT?
So yeah, I mean, I came across it actually through YouTube back in November because everybody was, I mean, whenever ChatGPT launched, it seemed like everybody and their brother was just starting to do videos on ChatGPT. And you had a bunch of people, videos that I would see. And again, mind you, this is like a couple days after ChatGPT kind of was introduced to the public. Oh, how to use ChatGPT to make 6 figures a month or whatever. It was like crazy stuff, right? And I'm like, well, let me look to see what ChatGPT is, and uh and after that, it was all over.
No, it was funny. I remember there was a buddy of mine that introduced ChatGPT to me. It was my buddy and my client Tyler. So his background's in cryptocurrency and NFTs and things like that. So like my company and I kind of help him on the content side of things. But I remember he sent it to me. He's like, dude, like this is gonna be big. And I kind of like was like I checked it out. I was like, oh my, this is some next level stuff. Like
Yeah,
just
right.
how fast it was pumping out like these requests that I would put in. And it's just like, I mean, obviously now prompt engineering is becoming more and more advanced. There's more that people are discovering that the language model can do, and new capabilities that are kind of being unlocked with like GPT-4 and stuff. But we'll talk about that on a future episode. Um, but I mean, obviously there's this aspect of unlocking new capabilities and new capacities for users. I mean, my background in film and TV and content creation, it's definitely helped accelerate a lot of things in my own business and help map out a lot of my thoughts on like larger projects. Like I'll go into ChatGPT, kind of be like, hey, help me write a mind map, include these points and so on and so forth. And I mean, sometimes it's exactly what I need, and other times it's not. But it at least helps me get my thoughts onto paper, and leveraging it obviously has helped accelerate a lot of my business operations. I mean, tell me a little bit about how you've started to use it and how it's helped to expand like your own creative process in what you do, especially on like the SEO side.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's the biggest thing is the ability to help you create your strategies a lot faster. And although ChatGPT isn't, how would you say, I would not rely on ChatGPT fully on SEO. However, though, it helps you with, you know, creating the structures, the content ideas, uh, writing blog posts, that kind of stuff. Once you feed it the right information, and that's really all it is, really, with AI. From what I've been able to learn, is that it's all about how you communicate with it. And you've got to be able to understand how you need to communicate, and that's where the just like you said, is the where the prompt engineering is going to come in. You get the prompt engineering right, and you're going to be able to get out the content that you really need for your business. And so, you know, the one thing that I love about it is that if you have any kind of creativity, this is going to just 10x your creative sessions. You're going to be able to just really take your thoughts and really expound on them and really make it stand out, because now you're able to add your own personality to it. You're basically training technology to think just like you, is basically what you're doing.
No, definitely. And kind of to that point on feeding Chat GPT and feeding the AI the right information to get the result that you want. I remember I was working with a close colleague of mine, and I was kind of showing her Chat GPT for the first time, because she was like, yeah, no, I used it a little bit, and what's it called? Like, it just kind of gave me like a Google kind of response of, and I was like, what did you do it in the prompt, in the prompt, like what kind of prompt did you give it? And she was like, it's like, yeah, I told it to give me the definition of acupuncture, or something like that. And it was like, I mean, of course, you ask it for a basic definition, it's going to give you a basic definition answer. But to that same
Right.
point, I then was like, what's your goal with kind of running ChatGPT the way it is now? And kind of come to realize it was more for developing content for social media. I was like, okay, how about this? Try asking it to write you a Instagram caption for the health benefits of acupuncture for, say, hypothetically, for like young adults. And then it proceeded to give us a more thought out response that was formatted for Instagram, complete with hashtags and the whole nine, on the health benefits of acupuncture for young adults. And so that kind of started the conversation, and then we just kind of obviously went down the rabbit hole with that, and whatnot. And like, it's just, some of this stuff is crazy that it's like it can do it in
Yep.
like no time at all.
Yeah. And I think that's where the challenge comes in for most business owners, is that they know what they have to offer. They know how to deliver the services, or their products, whatever, right? But it's a matter of trying to get all that into verbiage, right? I don't know how most people are, but I know that for me, it's really hard for me to talk about myself, always, or talk, about my stuff, like really talk it up, because then you feel like, oh, I don't want to be, tooting my own horn. But really, in all reality, that's what you really need to be doing. And that is what AI gives you that extra channel to be able to express yourself in a much better way that you could ever even think about.
Right. And I mean, to some extent, I feel, because on the flip side, right, it's the the paintbrush doesn't work if the artist doesn't know how to use it, kind of thing. And
Exactly.
and
Yep.
I think it's kind of the same application here, where if you don't know how to prompt engineer, or you're not familiar with it, or not thorough enough, it's then the response and the output that you're going to get is not going to
Yep.
be as robust as you might be
Yep.
envisioning or thinking. Um, I mean, just even in that regard, like, I've spent a lot of time within Chat GPT, and kind of going back on your point of training it, like, um, was testing around some things, playing around with it, and I was like, I'm gonna see if it can write me like a specific type of social media post. So like, every Monday on Instagram, I do a motivational Monday, where I talk about a motivational quote, what it means to me, and then challenging my followers on social media to do something in relation to that quote and the definition that I give to it, kind of thing. Um, and so I fed ChatGPT a couple examples of past posts that I did, and I was like, write me another one that's the same format, same writing style, but use a different quote in a different challenge. And then it gave me out something I was like, okay, all right. And then I even sent it to a couple of my buddies, and they were like, I asked them, I was like, what do you guys think about this? And they were like, dude, this is, yeah, no, it's pretty good. I like it. It's like your usual stuff, right? It's like, yeah, I didn't write it. And they were like, what? And I haven't posted it because I still like the personal touch that I can give to it. But just that test of can it copy me was just insane to kind of witness. And I mean, obviously, when I look through it, I can say like, all right, I'm gonna fix this. That doesn't apply to me, and so on and so forth. But to the vast majority of people outside, it's like, that's Matthew.
Yep. Yep. Well, you know, and to that point, it's like, you know, everyone, you know, you always hear people that, you know, own their own businesses, you know, the majority is like, oh, if only I had another person just like me, right? And well, you know, and this basically, you know, AI, ChatGPT basically is that other me, you know, and it's just all you got to do is basically just train it.
Yep. It's crazy. But I mean, kind of moving on from there, like not just chat GPT and things like that. Like there's so many tools and resources, AI based, AI powered, that are out there now. And like, where do you see this going as far as like the marketing industry goes as a whole?
You know, you know, you and I were having this conversation the other day, is that it's crazy. I can only imagine where we're going to be at a year from now, you know, with the way technology is going right now. And, you know, every time you turn around, you see a new tool that's popping up, right? I mean, right now people are just creating tools left and right, you know, and, you know, with that, you know, in mind, you know, basically kind of like going back to what you were saying, as far as, you know, being careful with some of the stuff that we're doing, you know, just today, I just saw an article where ChatGPT is banned in Italy because of privacy
Yep.
issues. You know, so you know it's moving so fast, and not only that, but even Elon Musk, you know, at the time of the recording of this video, um, Elon Musk, you know, and a few others are actually, you know, are looking to put a halt on any more uh, creations of software until they can get a handle on what's going on and
Right.
regulating these, just because it's like a wildfire. It's not stopping.
Yeah, like
You know?
I saw another post earlier too, like this was like 2 or 3 days ago at the time of this recording, and it was like it basically said that, yeah, like GPT-5 could be available later this year, and it's like we just got GPT-4,
Right.
and the insanity of how new and improved that is over GPT-3 and
Mm.
3.5. It's
Yeah.
like, I mean, at this point, just like, I mean, I to some extent, I'm kind of with Elon on that, in the sense of, hey, we need to like get an idea of
Throttle it. Yep.
where this is
They're gonna have
going.
to throttle this big time.
Yeah, yeah, because it's like, I mean, again, harkening back to the opening point I made earlier, where it's like, yes, there's a lot of excitement going on, but we need to take it with a grain of salt, because like once it gets out of our hands, then we have Skynet within a year. So
Right.
so it's like, so it's like we got to be careful and keep it in check, because if we don't, then it's like, all right, there's the challenges and stuff that will come with that.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just a matter of exercising caution. But I mean, in my experience with AI so far, everything that I've seen, which I mean, in the big picture is really just kind of scratching the surface of it,
Yeah.
is like for those viewers out there that might be more afraid than I guess open to the concept of AI and integrating it into their systems and their business. In my experience, I've found that the AI is only as good as the input. So if like, at least as of right now,
Yeah.
the catch will be when the AI can generate the input and then control the output. That's when
Right.
there's another problem. But
Yeah.
um I mean, obviously that's more doom and gloom than we need for this episode. So
You're
uh,
right, right. Yeah, it's
we'll tackle that more on a future episode, and we can go more in depth. But
yeah.
because
Yeah, it's the biggest thing that I think we need to kind of that I hope that our audience really understands with this first episode is that we're talking about a tool that if you take a little bit of time and invest a little bit of time in learning, and that's that's why we're here. We're going to we're hoping that we can create a journey for our audience of how to use AI tools to really take their marketing, their businesses as a whole to the next level, because it's once you understand what ChatGPT, Jasper, these other tools can do for you, you're going to realize that you can create systems for your company in a way that it's going to make things a lot more efficient for you as a business owner, and you're going to be able to kind of hand off a lot of this stuff to AI to be able to manage for you, so you can focus on growing your business. And this is where I think this is where there's going to be a separation, I think, that's going to happen here within the next year. There's going to be those business owners that don't really understand or even value the opportunity that's available to them right now with AI, and they're just basically going to get left behind. I mean, let's face it. Right now, if you're a business owner and you're not online, you're not really, in my opinion, you're not really serious about your business. And with AI, if you grasp it and you start to really dive into it and learn it, I think a year from now, your business is going to be at another level that you would have expected it to be. So, this is where artificially smart marketing, that's really what was the birth of this podcast, because it's our mission to, one, guide you guys along with the usage of AI, and also understands the pros and cons, right? The safety measures, that Matthew was talking about. These are, with everything that you do, and I look at it, coming from the construction industry, we use a lot of tools, right? But if you're not shown how to use a tool properly, you're not going to be as efficient as the next person next to you that actually knows how to use it. And that's what we're here for. And so, hey, Matthew, what do you think? What are some of your tools? What are the tools that you're actually in? If I know that you've been playing around with some tools, which are some of the tools that you like the most right now?
So, I mean, on my end, I use ChatGPT a lot for a lot of different things. I leverage it in a lot of my brainstorming and creative elements. Midjourney is another one. I mean, basic entry level kind of text to art or text to visual tool, which was used in the creation of this background that you see, as well as
everything
logo.
AI.
Yes, yes. So Midjourney has been really good. ChatGPT has been really good. Those are probably the two that I use the most. I know I'm going to start using within Adobe. They just announced Adobe Firefly on one hand,
Yep.
but
I'm excited about that one.
Yeah. And then also for Adobe, they have like a vocal enhancer AI, to where it can save like audio and polish the audio. Like I was literally just using that the other
Wow.
day for a video edit. A client of mine, like, so for me, I do a lot of video editing and video production. And a lot of times you can't control the audio in the background. And in this particular instance, the client had sent me a iPhone video of this gentleman. He was being asked an interview question, and basically the recording was in front of an industrial grade printer. So you're hearing the of the printing the entire time, and I like from in the audience standpoint, you can barely hear what he's saying. Like, and me, I've been in video production since 2012, and like I looked at this audio and I was like, there's no way that I can save this. There's no way that I can save this audio. But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give it a try, because like I could hear what he was saying barely, and I was like, this is like what he says was really good, and I wanted to save it, but it's like, I'm gonna try this last ditch effort. And then, I mean, because the audio really wasn't that great, again, there was only so much that I could even do to save it on my side. There was like when I put it through the program, it spat back out like you could still hear it a little bit, but you could actually hear what the guy was saying. And it was like salvageable, probably about 70%, 60 to 70%. And it was like mind blowing to me. So I mean, now that's kind of become a normal element of production and things like that. But what are some of the ones that you use? Because I know you and I have constant conversations and things like that, discussions about the different tools that are out there. What are some of your favorites?
So obviously Chat GPT, I basically use that. I use that all day long, pretty much. But I also within Chat GPT, there's a Google Chrome extension that I use. That's ARPM or PRM, sorry, which basically takes Chat GPT to the next level and helping you out with prompts. Another one I use, obviously, Midjourney. I've been using Midjourney now, creating all of my social media content, images, all that stuff. A lot of fun to play around with. Just like you, it's just basic prompting, for the images. I haven't gotten to the level that some of the stuff that you see on there, but it's still good enough for what I'm doing. That's something that I really want to really get a handle on is the imaging. And then I have another tool that I came across. It's called Strong Prompt Box. With if there's one thing that you will realize very quickly whenever you start using Chat GPT is that you'll have 100 threads going, right? And it gets to a point where, I need to go back to this one to see what it was that I came up with. And the organization in it just isn't the best. And so that tool helps me out with keeping saving the chats, the threads that I actually want to work with regularly with, just because and then we'll be delving into all this, so don't get overwhelmed. But it's, the more you stay within the thread, the more Chat GPT is going to learn you better and understand who you are and all your prompts and be able to really give out the content that you're really looking for. And so I try to keep everything like that. It helps me keep it organized. ZimWriter is another one, just because I do a lot of blog posts. ZimWriter is a really good one for writing blog posts. And then I just started with Content at Scale, which is another blog writing tool, which is really good. And so that's basically the core of what I use right now. And and with that's today. That's this is for this show, right? By the time that we probably shoot the next one, there's going to be a lot more tools that I probably played around with, just because it's just crazy right now how many tools are being introduced out there, and so it's definitely something that we'll be keeping a tab on.
No, definitely. I mean, just speaking of that, like there's new, especially with the fact that GPT-4 is out and they're having the APIs available for developers and stuff. Like daily, there's thousands of new programs, whether personally developed or AI developed, that are going out there onto the market. I mean, one that I've been looking at is Reclaim.ai, and essentially what that does is it'll go through your Google Calendar or your whatever calendar app that you use, basically, and it'll ping everyone else's calendar for like your week, and then take those little 15-minute blocks of time that you're just kind of sitting around waiting for the next meeting, and then if it can move meetings to adjust to to mitigate that time, it'll do that for you.
Nice.
I haven't had the chance to mess around with it myself, but I did see that, and it's one that I'm going to be looking into, because anyone that knows me knows that I'm on calls probably about a good 7 to 9 hours out of the day. um, but kind of moving on to the core of why we're here, and I mean, obviously, Tony, you kind of touched on this before of giving our listeners and our viewers the tools, the resources, kind of to shed some light into the void of this AI revolution that most people have that as the perception of it. I mean, you've got the people that are going to be quick to adapt and adopt the tools and the resources that are out there, and then I'm sure you've had this too, where you've probably connected with a lot of business owners that are a little more hesitant, a little more reluctant, out of the fear of it. And it's just a matter, I think, of people fear what they don't understand. And I know one of the reasons why I'm here is to help people to understand the benefits of these tools and how to use them for their own benefit and for the growth of their business. I mean,
Yep.
can you comment on that a little bit as far as like what some of the other things that you'd like our viewers to be able to take away from the podcast?
Yeah, definitely. Just to reiterate what you said, we're, let's just be transparent. We're still learning, right? But it just so happens that we kind of got into this right, in the beginning. And so we're going to share everything that we've learned already, and we keep learning with everyone because, this is, it's like back in, when the internet, when Google launched, a lot of people were like, oh, the naysayers, oh, the internet's never going to be, it's not going to last that long. Well, surprise. And that's where AI is. AI is here and it's not going anywhere. It's just going to get, however you want to look at it, better or worse, however it is that you want to look at it. The way I look at it, I think it's just going to get better. So we're here for this journey to help our audience, you, eliminate those fears and those questions that you have in your mind on whether or not whether or not you can really take advantage of something like that to help you with your business. It's not only business, but there's, just like what Matthew was just talking about, productivity, efficiency, different ways on how to use it to coach somebody. There's just so many different uses that you're going to be able to use AI with. And we're just not even scratching the surface yet as far as some of the things that we can do. And so we're going to be here. This is our intent, to basically kind of calm your nerves down, really. And once you get your nerves calmed down, kind of open up and start realizing the potential that you as a business owner have to be able to really jumpstart your business, or to, if you've hit a plateau with your business growth, how to get that steroid injection into your business to launch you past that plateau. So we're living in exciting times, as an entrepreneur, as business owners. I can't see any other reason why not to be more excited.
No, absolutely. And I agree with you 100%. Like, we are not even at the tip of the iceberg of what AI is going to do for like businesses, people, humanity as a whole. And through this podcast, it's like I believe that our viewers can expect, just like you said, that element of information, education, addressing the fears, allaying the nerves and the anxiety that may surround this concept and these tools and this technology, and being able to come away uh, more educated, more informed, and more ready to take on and play around with these tools to better their business and advance their enterprises.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be great. Um, so what do you think? What are a few things that you think, Matthew, our viewers can expect from our upcoming and future shows?
So, I mean, obviously, we're going to be covering a lot on the different tools and programs out there, as far as like ChatGPT, Midjourney, and other tools that you can use. I mean, obviously, those two are just the basics. Um, I think that our viewers can be excited to hear from other industry experts, that are really kind of leading the foray of this AI revolution. Um, and again, just from that aspect of information education, I'm a firm believer that knowledge is power. And as long as we maintain the knowledge of what these tools are, how they can help us, and just some of those other things that we'll need to be aware of as we as the technology continues to grow and advance and evolve, I think that our viewers will be able to walk away each week feeling more say quote unquote AI empowered.
Right. Yep. Love it. Love it.
So now, I guess before we close out this episode, I think one question that all of our viewers will need to know is: are we actually smart, or are we just artificially smart?
We are actually smart, but we are at now we've taken it up a notch. Now we're artificially smart now.
we're actually smart, and we're artificially intelligent.
That's right. There you go. Yep. Yep. Yep.
Awesome. Well, alrighty, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in this week to the Artificially Smart Marketing Podcast. We will see you in the next one. Be sure to follow us for more. For those of you that are watching this on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. You know all the things to do. And we will see you in the next one.
Peace.